Hi everybody, it's Harvard lawyer Lee. Well, we have finally reached the end of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. And at long last, we are finally going to get a result, an answer. Who is going to be liable? Is anyone going to be liable? So I want to talk a little bit about what's going to happen, what to expect, how long is this going to take, what are the next steps. Today, closing argument. Closing argument, both sides have already told us, is going to be on Johnny Depp's side by Camille Vasquez and by Ben Chu. On Amber Heard's side, it's going to be by Elaine Bredehoff and Ben Rotenborn. The judge has given the sides 2 hours each, no more, and they can divide it any way they want. That means they can divide it between the lawyers who are arguing it any way they want, and they also can divide it between the claim and the counterclaim any way they want. So remember, each side has to respond and talk about not just their side, their evidence, their case. They also have to talk about the other side's case since there's a counterclaim. So Johnny Depp has to talk about, in his lawyers have to talk about in the closing argument, they have to talk about what their evidence is and why they think Johnny Depp should win the case. And they have to talk about Amber Heard's counterclaim and why they think she should not win her counterclaim. Then Amber Heard has to do the same thing. She has to talk about why Johnny Depp should not win on defamation, but she also has to talk about why she should win on defamation. The judge will start giving what's called jury instructions. Jury instructions are based on the law, and while you may see what's read in court, hours and hours have gone into those jury instructions before they ever get read to the jury. At the beginning, each side will submit a set of jury instructions. Usually that's even submitted before the trial starts. And each side then will object to the other side's jury instructions that they think should not be given. And then, of course, agree to ones they think should be given. Some of these are standard. They're based on the law and they're almost required. But for some of them, there's a lot of question about it. One side may think an issue is important and matters, and it may well present something that the other side disagrees with. Those jury instruction arguments happen before the judge starts reading to the jury. And they, in this case, have taken hours. There will be some jury instructions that both sides have agreed to. That's probably the majority. There will be some that one side thought should be given and the judge won't give. That's another set. And then there will be a set that one side thought should be given and the judge agreed, even though the other side objected. Now the reason why that matters so much is those can be appeal issues. If the judge gives an instruction and the appellate court rules she should not have, or if the judge doesn't give an instruction and the appellate court rules she should have, then that can mean an appeal. That would mean back to square zero and we start all over again, which nobody is crazy about. When the jury instructions get read to the jury will finally be free to deliberate. Now, they will be laser focused on those jury instructions. Those will govern what they decide to do in the case, because they'll be constantly looking through the evidence, filtering it, and asking themselves, of what I've heard, how does this relate to defamation? How does this relate to what the judge has told me is the law I need to apply? The judge has explained to the jury that they are going to have whatever part of the afternoon is left to deliberate, and they can go as late as they want, but she chuckled, I don't serve dinner. So presumptively not too late. They're not going to deliberate on Saturday or Sunday or on Monday because it's a holiday. So they won't be back until Tuesday to continue their deliberations. What are they going to have with them? What will the jury have with them when they go out to deliberate? They're going to have a laptop that's been preloaded with exhibits. It's been preloaded with the audio tapes, the videotapes that have been admitted into evidence, and it's been preloaded with any electronic versions of images that they can look at. They will be allowed to take that back into the jury room and look at it while they're deliberating. That way they can refer back to it. They can say, oh, I think the audio tape said this. Wait, I thought it said that. Let's listen again. So they'll be allowed to do all of that. when they look at what's on the laptop, they will only be seeing evidence in this case. It's a clean laptop, nothing on it, no connection to the outside. And it won't include anything that wasn't admitted. Sometimes a piece of evidence was offered and the judge said, no, I'm not going to allow it to be admitted. Sometimes a piece of evidence was simply, or what looked like evidence, was really just a demonstrative aid. That means it was something that was used to help the jury, to instruct the jury, but it's not literally evidence in the case. A great example would be a chart done by an expert witness. Those are usually not admitted into evidence. They're just demonstrative aids that will help the jury make its decision. When the jury gets back in the jury room, the judges said they need to be there by 9. They can come earlier if they want. And they get to decide when they want to leave, when they want to take lunch. They're in charge. They'll be going through the evidence. Theoretically, the jury could simply go back into the jury room, do a straw poll, realize that everybody votes for one side or the other, and then come right back in and announce their verdict. That's possible. It's not very likely in this case. The reason it's not very likely is because, first of all, of the attention from the outside world on this case. That's totally apparent to the jury by the number of people sitting in the courtroom, by the people outside the courthouse when they arrive in the mornings. The jury is not supposed to have talked to anybody about the case. They're not supposed to have looked online or read about the case. They're supposed to be solely focused on what they've seen in the courtroom as jurors. But they can't help knowing it's an important case. It's taken 6 weeks of the time of the lawyers, the litigants. Public attention has been on it for 6 weeks. Obviously, it's an important case, and I think they're going to take that very seriously. I think they would not want to come back immediately with an answer because it would feel like they hadn't really looked at the evidence, and they might be criticized for that. So my guess is they're going to spend some time going through the evidence that's on that laptop and taking a look at what they have in evidence and making a decision on that. Now, how long will it take them? That is absolutely anybody's guess. But I think that one of the reasons that it's going to take a while is because it's a civil case, not just a criminal case. And so they have to decide not just one, but 2 cases. They have to decide Johnny Depp's claim for defamation, and they also have to decide Amber Heard's counterclaim, also for defamation, but for different statements. Then, if they decide either claim wins, they have to decide the amount of damages that they want to award. Those damages are very unlikely to be the exact same number for every juror at the very beginning. So, by the time they process through the evidence, by the time they talk about both the claim and the counterclaim, and then dollars that go with them if they decide to award any, I figure that's going to take a pretty good amount of time. I doubt seriously that the jury will be back right away. Certainly not today, maybe not even Tuesday when they come back to deliberate. Although by that time, maybe. The more hours they spend, the more that means they are looking through the evidence and talking about what to do. The longer they spend, the more it seems they may be having trouble reaching a consensus, a decision in which the jurors agree. At this point, we don't know who the exact jurors will be. 2 jurors will be dismissed. 7 will be left. The choice will be random, and we will find out who the jury is sometime later today as the judge does the closing arguments and the attorneys do the closing arguments and the judge does the jury instructions. So it's going to be an exciting, action-packed few days. Don't forget to subscribe so you can get the latest updates, and I will see you in the next video.